report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. For your latest news in high school sports, tune in to the fish report. Don't need no bed, don't need no pull when you tune in to the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. You got Craig and TK and FFD tuned in at the fish report.
Coming to you live from Studio F in Russia, Ohio. It's the Fish Report Live Show with your hosts, Craig Fissinger and Ken Francis.
Welcome back, folks, to another Fish Report Live. Thanks for joining us. I'm Craig Fissinger. Sitting next to me is my co-host, Ken Francis. And, of course, back in the sound room, we have TK and Heavy D. We'll be checking in with those guys here in just a few minutes. And, Ken, before we get started, kind of breaking news tonight. A longtime boys basketball coach, a former state champion, and a former guest on this show resigned tonight.
Yes, he did, Craig. The head coach of the Tri-Village Patriots, Josh Sagaster, stepping down after many years of successful coaching over there in New Madison Tri-Village. And, there'll be a big program to turn over to somebody out there, Craig. But, I guess we'll see what happens with the program. But Josh did a great job, and I'm sure they'll find a good successor over there for him.
Yeah, I just saw on Twitter tonight, Mark Pendleton, writer for the Dayton Daily News, had a story already on it, and Coach Sagaster actually been over there for 13 seasons, had that state championship back in 2015, and a lot of success over there. Unfortunately, some people may remember the program for the hazing incident they had earlier this year, but when asked about that, Coach Sagaster said that had nothing to do with his decision. Actually, it was all family related. His family's taken a back seat for the past 13 years because of his basketball coaching, and now they're going to take a front seat because he's no longer going to be doing that. But as you said, some big shoes to fill over there in Tri-Village.
Absolutely, and like you said, it's always, you got to love it. You got to love what you're doing over there. Nobody does it for the money. That's for darn sure, Craig. And when the family starts to suffer from it and they take the back seat, then it is time to step forward and take care of what's most important in your life, and that's what Josh is doing.
All right, well, listen, Ken, we opened our spring sports season here several weeks ago, and we had kind of a girls' night where we talked girls track and softball. A couple weeks ago when we last aired this show, we had a boys' night where we talked baseball and boys track and field. Tonight, we're going to try to cover everything, aren't we?
Yes, we are, Craig. Kind of a hodgepodge of all sports tonight. We're going to go around the horn with all four of us here after a while, and then really looking forward to our interview that we've got in the second half of our show, Craig, and that's with longtime baseball coach Bill Sturwold of the Fort Loramie Redskins. Bill is in his 25th year coaching varsity baseball. He's just picked up his 460th career coaching victory. The other night, we've seen his team play on Monday night versus the Russia Raiders. Had a big road win there for his team, and he's got his Redskins. They're young. They're very young, but they're getting better as the season goes. And I've told many people this before, Craig. I totally respect Bill as a head baseball coach, and I've never seen a coach win more one-run games than Bill Sturwold.
Yeah, you're exactly right there, and he's always a fun interview because he's always got a good opinion on things or a strong opinion on things, so looking forward to that interview. But speaking of covering all the spring sports, that kind of leads us to tonight's poll question.
We're going to ask our listeners out there tonight, Craig, what is your favorite spring sport to watch? What's your favorite spring high school sport to watch? Is it baseball, fast-pitch softball, boys track and field, or girls track and field? We'll be real interested in see what our viewers have to say to this one tonight, Craig. And personally, from my standpoint, I like watching all of them. So I'd have a hard time picking one of the four.
I'm with you on that one. And if you're watching us on the Fish Report Live page on your computer, you can scroll down, help us answer tonight's poll question, and check the results. If you're watching us on NK Telco, we will have those results for you at the end of the show. All right, Ken, well, let's get things started, and I want to bring in the sound room guys. As you mentioned there earlier, we're going to use kind of a baseball term, a softball term, go around the horn and talk all the spring sports tonight. So let's get things started. I want to ask you, let's bring the sound room guys in. There they are, TK and Heavy D. Guys, again, we're going to talk softball, baseball, boys track and field, and girls track and field. I'm going to start things out with Ken here with a little softball. Ken, I want to know what teams or maybe what individuals excites you? We're halfway through the season. Who do you like right now?
Well, Craig, Shelby County League, you got to start with our hometown Russia Raiders, Craig. Coach Molenkamp's got the Lady Raiders playing great softball. Everybody knew they were going to be really good this year. They were the defending champion, league co-champions last year. They had virtually everybody back from that team. Craig, they're sitting 6-0 in the league, 11-4 overall. Their 4 losses have come to some really stiff competition. And, they're being led really a duo of pitching there by Maddie Borchers and Grace Saunders. They're getting great pitching every night out. Craig, there's not many teams that have one good pitcher, let alone 2 really good pitchers like what Coach Molenkamp has. Getting great hitting as well. They run the base as well. Lexi Monin, Maria Herron, Jenna Cadonier, Kylie Sherman went deep the other night. So just a great all-around offensive performance as well. And so Coach Molenkamp, again, her Lady Raiders are playing very well. Houston, Craig, they're the other team in the Shelby County League. Sitting at 5-1 right now. They've got a very good pitcher in Emily Foster, and they're getting some good hitting from Jenna Jarrett, Sarah Monier, and Addie White. So, Russia's got a big game coming up with them Thursday night, actually, and we'll see if what happens in that one. But that's pretty much a must-win for the Wildcats. But, again, Lady Raiders, very good team this year.
Yeah, I agree, guys. Definitely the top 2 teams in the league, as we saw in the standings. And, your third-place team there is, of course, the Fort Loramie Redskins, and they're at 500, I believe, right now. Russia picked up that big win against them on Monday night. So definitely the top 2 teams in the league, in my opinion. TK, I want to talk to you about some baseball. Let's hear your opinion on baseball. I know you and I called that Russia Fort Loramie baseball game on Monday night. Did you like either of those 2 teams, or did you like any individuals on those 2 teams?
You had to like both of those teams. It was a well-played game. You knew, as it almost always seems to come down to, the team that makes the least number of mistakes tends to win a Russia Fort Loramie game, and that's probably really what happened in the end. Russia just a couple too many mistakes and let the Redskins come back and win that one 3-2. Again, like both teams, who's the hottest? Probably have to say Fort Loramie right now. Ken mentioned it before, a very, very young team. Started 6 sophomores, a freshman, and only 2 seniors the other day against Russia. That's probably why they started the season 3-5, but they're now 9-7. They've gone 6-0 in their last 6 games in the Shelby County League, only losing out to Anna early. The likes of Jared Mittendorf pitched really well against Russia the other night. He's definitely their ace, getting a lot of good pitching out of Daniel Burning. Others on that team, Eli Rosengarten, Devin Wehrman, just to name a few, playing really good ball, at least offensively. Defensively, we saw a couple kinks the other night, but again, a young team, and they're working through that. By the end of the season, even now, they're doing really well. End of the season, they'll be in fine form. Looking across at Russia, again, maybe not as hot as Loramie is right now, as they're filling the pieces in at Loramie, but Russia's 10-4, 4-1 on the league, getting a lot of good pitching. I think that's probably the key right now for Russia. 4 or 5 good pitchers up there. Hunter Cohey, Jack Daypour, Kevin Drees, Drew Sherman, Daniel Kearns, all throwing very well. The biggest worry coming into the season, if you had to ask anybody, was probably offense, and they're managing, except for a couple games, to have a lot of good offense. So the likes of Dion Putoff, he's batting 6-something right now, just extremely well at the plate, making sure he gets on base. Across the board, everybody's doing well. Drew Sherman, again, Hunter Cohey playing really well on the offensive end, hitting getting a lot of nice hits and bringing in a lot of runs. So both teams are playing well. Probably Loramie bringing things together a little quicker, and obviously that showed the other night. Anna also doing well, but at 5-0, it's hard to say they're not the hottest, but they've lost a couple games probably you thought they shouldn't have. They do have a big game tomorrow, as we mentioned, with Fort Loramie, and we'll see how that one comes out. That'll really firm things up at the top of the league, with Anna right now 5-0, Loramie 6-1, and Russia 4-1 sitting there at the top. So all 3 teams playing well. Be interesting to see what happens over the next couple of weeks as all these teams meet again and things start to really shake out.
Yeah, you mentioned Anna there, TK, and one player in particular I've been watching over there is Aiden Ensley, a kid that can do it both at the plate and on the mound. I think he's batting over 350 right now, has 10-plus RBIs, runs scored. Also on the mound, like I said, he's pitching well, 4-1, I believe he is, with under a 3.0 ERA and a bunch of strikeouts, one of the league leaders in strikeouts as well. So there's a kid that could be in the running for maybe a player of the year if he keeps going like he is. But, yeah, Anna, Fort Loramie, and Russia, probably the top 3 teams in the league right now.
Nothing's changed there, Craig. It's been that way last year. It's been that way for years. It's been that way for 10 years. It might be that way for the next 10 years. You know, I hate to say it, but year in and year out, Anna, Fort Loramie, Russia in baseball, there's really only 6 games that when those 3 teams square off against each other, because, you know, you look at the other records, you know, Howson's decent this year, 6-8 overall, Bakken's at 3-9, Jackson 2-9, Fairlawn 1-7. I mean, you know, the bottom 4 teams, they beat up on each other a little bit, but no surprise here in all. Anna, Fort Loramie, Russia, year in and year out.
3 good programs there. And Heavy D, I want to talk to you about boys track. I know you're a huge boys track fan,
Yes.
so wanted to get your thoughts on boys track. Who excites you right now?
Well, team-wise, you can't bet against Dean Stewart and the Anna Rockets. We had him on the show a couple of weeks ago, and all he's done, Craig, is won 11 out of the last 13 league titles, and they're very strong again this year. But if you're looking for one event that Shelby County has a chance of winning the state title win, I'm putting my money on the Fort Loramie Redskins and the 4x8 relay team. The team of Alan Holdheide, Jake Raithman, Tom Ballas, Joe Ballas put on a show at last Saturday's Minster Memorial. They set a new meet record of 8:09:25. Guys, that's a mark they would have placed 6th in at last year's state meet, and we're still only in April. The Redskins will probably need to get that time probably under 8 minutes to win a title, but right now they're certainly looking good, and they're strong mid-season.
Hey, Heavy D, I know you know a lot about 4x8 state champions. So I really respect your opinion on that, because, you know, I know you're very closely knitted into 4x8 state champions. So well done. I appreciate the comments and well-respected comments that might be.
Well, he's right. They're going to have to get that under 8 if they want to win a state title. That's typically what it requires on the boys' side in Division III. But, again, yeah, they're only in April, so I can see that happening. You mentioned Alan Holdheide. He's also a kid that's capable of doing a lot in the pole vault. He set a Minster Memorial record last Saturday at 14.4 1/4. You know, that's getting up there, guys, and that he's going to be in the running at the state meet, I would guess, at the end of the year. And one guy we don't want to forget about over there at Bakken's, Josh Miller. He's a thrower there, discus and discus and shot put. He's actually ranked 3rd in both those events in Ohio right now. There's a guy up from Liberty Center that's leading both those events, but Josh is real close, so I think he's going to be one to keep our eye on as well. And we'll finish things up with girls track. And guys, you want to know what gets me excited in girls track? You want to know what makes the hairs of my arms stand up? That sounded a little personal there, but anyway, no, I really, I'm a Russia fan, and I love my Lady Raiders, but I tell you what, the Anna girls right now are awfully good. Those girls over there can fly. They've got a girl by the name of Rachel Schmidtmeyer, Rachel Shoemaker. Rachel Schmidtmeyer ran for Loramie last year, but Rachel Shoemaker is having a fantastic year, guys. She's good in the sprint. She can long jump. She can pole vault. They've got a lot of really fast girls there. The one weakness they probably have is in distance right now, but they're good in some field events as well, so they're going to be really tough to beat. And like I said, I love my Lady Raiders, and probably the one girl right now that's the most fun to watch for me is Grace York over there. She is a senior, and guys, I always think of her as a 400, 800 runner. She went to state last year at the 800, but last Saturday in Minster, coach decided to put her in the 100. And I thought, okay, this is just for fun. She's not going to do anything in prelims. She'll get knocked out. But she made the finals in prelims, after prelims, and she didn't. She finished about probably 6th or 7th in the finals. But I guess I was shocked that she made it to the finals. I guess I shouldn't be, but Grace York can pretty much do it all. So she's been a lot of fun to watch. And one more girl I want to mention over there at Bakken's, a sophomore by the name of Adriana Judy. Been watching her run cross country, do track since junior high. I think she's found her niche, guys, and the hurdles and the 100 hurdles and the 300 hurdles is probably her best event, 300 hurdles. She's actually ranked 2nd in Ohio right now in the 300 hurdles, under 48 already. Unfortunately, there's a girl from Buckeye Trail, that's a junior that won that event last year. That's a kind of a phenom running about 45s. But Adriana Judy, very good, and she's one to watch from Bakken. So there you have it, guys. That's our spring sports around the horn, and that's going to do it for the first half of our show. We're going to take a short break, but stay right there. When we come back, we're going to talk some more baseball, including that big interview with Fort Loramie coach Bill Sturwold.
Stage at the leaving van. Music starts at 8 o'clock. You can find us here every Wednesday night. It's usually the same cats every week, but I can't tell you all their names. Teacher cat and a junkie, all waiting for time to play. Everybody here's got something that we're trying to leave behind. We're all a little broken, for a place to hide. Get no answers, don't ask any questions. We're all here just looking for a high. And we're all beautifully broken here tonight.
Welcome back to the second half of Fish Report Live. Before the break, we were talking some spring sports, all the spring sports, softball, baseball, boys and girls track and field. And Ken, one of those sports, we looked at the standings a little bit in boys baseball. Let's take a quick look at those again and see where we're at right now.
High school boys baseball standings, Craig. You got Anna sitting up top at 5-0, Fort Loramie at 6-1, and Russia at 4-1. Like I said just a few minutes ago, Craig, it's a three-team race. It's typically always a three-team race, and no different this year. And we're going to see how things play out the second half of the season. Russia, of course, has to play Anna twice yet. Loramie has to play Anna once and Russia once. So a lot of competitive games yet ahead, but right now, Craig, three teams sitting within one game of each other, and that's the way it's going to be tight like that the rest of the year.
Well, as luck would have it, those top two teams in the standings, Anna and Fort Loramie, do play on Thursday night. Of course, the head coach of the Fort Loramie Redskins is Bill Sturwold. We're happy to have him live on the phone right now. Coach, welcome to Fish Report Live, and thanks for joining us.
Yeah, how you guys doing?
Good.
All right, listen, Coach, we just mentioned a little earlier in the show that this is your 25th year, I think, of coaching baseball. That's a lot of years to be doing anything. Tell me, what keeps bringing you back to the ballpark year after year?
Oh, I just enjoy the game, and I enjoy the kids. It just keeps me busy. I mean, otherwise I'd be working and golfing, and I just enjoy the kids.
Well, listen, we got an opportunity to see your Redskins for the first time this season when you visited Russia on Monday night. It's also the third time in a row, I believe, that we saw sophomore pitcher Jared Mittendorf start against the Raiders. Once again, he picked up a win. Coach, in your opinion, what makes Jared such a successful pitcher?
Well, he pretty much lives baseball. He has great mound presence. He's ready to go from day one. He just lives for the game, and his stats. Glanced at him today. He's got very few walks. He doesn't. He pitches to contact.
Coach, hi. This is Ken. Talk a little bit about that game here and a little bit of your strategy moves there. And congratulations, first of all, on the big win. I made a comment just a few minutes ago in the early part of the show that you have a great tendency of winning one-run baseball games, and I follow a lot of your or a lot of all the high school sports, of course, and you know, a lot of that is one-run victories come into strategy, and the strategy the other night was you pulled Jared with a 1-0 count in the 7th inning, and the move paid dividends, of course, and you brought your catcher in, which Daniel Burning, obviously a very good pitcher. What played into that decision? You know, it's tough going from behind the plate to on the pitcher's mound, and obviously you had confidence in that move.
Daniel could field the bunt a little better than Jared could, and Daniel's our leader. I mean, he's our man. I mean, he's kind of led the football team, turned their season around when they started 0-4. Daniel's he's our guy. So I went to him just for change. I mean, the hitter has advantage on the 3rd, 4th time through the lineup, and I definitely wanted to go with a different look, and I felt Daniel would field the bunt a lot better.
Coach, while we're talking about Daniel Burning, I also noticed, you know, he's the number 3 batter for you, I believe, 3 or 4 batter, and he showed bunt twice, a couple at bats there, and with a big kid like that, in that spot in the lineup, why do you have a kid showing a bunt in those situations, or is that something that you expect all your kids to be able to do? Well,
we'd like for them all to be able to do it, and with this dead bat or ball error or whatever you want to call it, there's not too many balls going over the fence, so it's very important that you be able to have productive outs. And the first inning, I elected not to bunt when we had 1st and 2nd with C.J. Billing, and we never scored, and Daniel hit a fly ball that would have gave us a 1-0 lead. So it's just, I don't know, when you're batting 3 and 4 early in the game, I really would have had trouble with John Hefner to give me the bunt sign in the first inning. So, but depends on what part of the game you're in.
That's because you swung the big thumper back then, Bill, and they don't have the big thumper today.
Well, Kenny, I just sent you a picture on my phone. John Hefner gave me a baseball for my graduation, and the baseball that we played with in the early 80s is a better baseball than what we're playing right now. It has flat seams, and it's just a better baseball. The equipment we played with, is hard to believe, back then is better than what we're playing with right now.
Let's talk a little bit more about that game, and not so much the strategy moves, Coach, but the attendance at that game. I don't know if you got an opportunity to take a look around at the crowd, but the official attendance count was over 260 people at that high school baseball game. I'm sure you've played in front of bigger crowds, but for a regular season game, that was as big a baseball crowd as I've ever seen. Any comments on that?
Well, the weather makes a big difference, and plus both teams playing for first place, that always makes a difference. There was a few years back when Brad Francis was the coach. We've had an extra inning game over there. It was very similar. And, Russia Loramie, that's a great atmosphere, and both teams love both communities love baseball, so that's a lot of fun when you coach and play in those games.
Coach, I've got one more question before I turn it back over to Craig. And you got a big game tomorrow night. You play the Anna Rockets. They're sitting at 5-0. Obviously, everybody in the league, including the Russia Raiders, are rooting for the Redskins tomorrow night. What's it going to take to beat Anna? They shut you out the first game. What are their strengths? They lost a lot of talent from last year. They lost a lot of offense, but they're obviously still a very good team.
You got to play solid baseball and they're very quick. As much power as they had last year. They're fast, and their catcher's very good. That Zach White, he's as good a catcher as there is in the area. So you're not going to get a lot of bases unless you're really anticipating something, breaking ball in the dirt. They're well coached. You can't rely on anyone else to beat Anna because they're pretty good. So we need to go over there and take care of it ourselves because they are pretty good.
Hey, Coach, one more question before we let you go, but we always like getting your opinions on things. And last year, I believe when we interviewed you, we asked you about the whole idea of maybe moving the baseball season from spring to summer, and you came right out and said that's a terrible idea. So, again, I like getting your thoughts on things. So I wanted to ask you about this new OHSAA rule about pitch count this season. They started to enforce it this year. What's your thoughts on that? Did the guys in Columbus make the right decision when they started it this year?
It's really not that big of an issue because most coaches in there are very protective of their arms. it's going to show up in the tournament more so than any time. I mean, like we pitched Jared Monday night against Rushi. He's not available to come in relief to close out a game against Anna. So that makes a difference there, and not that I would do it anyway because I know his arm's tender because he was up to close to 100 pitches, I think was what his tally was. And getting back to that question from last year, I got the survey. They just sent a survey out to all the coaches and athletic directors just a couple of days ago about extending the baseball season, not adding games, but extending it and starting the tournament later because we're the only sport that people have to play league games out after they're out of the tournament, and that is really hard to do, and no other sport has to do it. And a couple of people that are involved with this, they're counting the number of weeks. I mean, basketball they got 3 months to play their schedule. Football has 10 weeks, and in spring baseball, we're trying to squeeze it in 6.5, 7 weeks, and then possibly play regular season games after you're out of the postseason. So I've kind of rethought that a little bit. If they would move it back a week or 9, 10 days, I think I'd be okay with it because playing Rushi for a league title on a day after you play a tournament game, which you could possibly get beat, that's kind of tough.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Agree with you. So, well, listen, Bill, congratulations again on the big win the other night. Good luck tomorrow night. And, you do a great job over there with the program. Keep it up. And you got a lot of good young talent over there. So we look forward to watching you for several more years.
Okay. Hey, thanks a lot, guys.
All right. Thanks,
Take
Coach.
care, Bill.
Yep. Bye.
All right, that was the head coach of the Fort Loramie Redskins, Bill Sturwold, and again, always interesting to get his thoughts on things. He's always got a good opinion on it.
I've played used to play a lot of ball with Bill myself, and I tell you what, there's one thing that guy does, and you can never fault him for, and that is he is a winner. The guy can win. So he great coach, great player back in his day, and he sure does know how to win games.
I got a kick out of him listening to him on Monday night. He was coaching third, and one of his players was actually chatting with the first baseman, and Coach Sturwold yelled over there. He said, "Hey," he says, I think you might have missed some signs or something." He says, "Quit talking to that first baseman and look at me." And I told my son that after the game, and he says, "Well, Craig," he says, or Dad, he says, the major leaguers, they all talk to the first baseman too. I said, "That's the major league, son. We're in high school here." So
that's right.
But hey, one more thing to get to tonight, and that is our poll question. Ken, why don't you read that to our viewers again, and we'll have the guys in the sound room check on the results.
Well, we look forward to seeing the telemetrics from TK and Heavy D back here. But of our listeners tonight, what is your favorite spring high school sport to watch? Is it baseball, fast pitch softball, boys track and field, or girls track and field? TK, what's it say back here?
All right, just tallied up everything over here in the corner, and it is 97% baseball.
Wow.
Overwhelming.
Wow. Must have been a lot of people listening to Coach Sturwold out there tuned in tonight. So a lot of baseball listeners out there tonight for sure.
A lot of Redskin fans listening to Coach Sturwold there.
I wonder if Bill Eilerman stuffed that ballot box. I seen him at the game the other night, actually.
I think he likes I don't know about track, but I know he's a softball and baseball fan both. But that's going to wrap it up for us tonight. I do want to say special thanks to Coach Sturwold for joining us. Thanks to viewers out there for tuning in. Ken and I and the crew will all be back again next week. Same time, same place. Until then, have a great rest of the week, everyone, and good night.
Hanging at the fishing pond. 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 For your latest news in high school sports, tune in to the fishing pond. Don't need no bed, don't need no pole. When you tune in to the fishing pond, hanging at the fishing pond.